Namaste, everybody. I have Kate here today, and we'll start off with the 3 questions that I always ask the guest here. And then, of course, we have Prince and Molly, our VIP
You're not petting
guests.
your legs.
She's not. She's petting the dogs here. So, hi, Prince.
Here, let me give you some room. There you go.
Hi, baby. All right, Prince, get down. Get down. Now we can get started. Okay, so, Kate, we met years ago. I don't even know how long it's been, but tell me a little bit about our history and where we met and how we know each other.
I think I was doing the math. I think I started at Apple in 2009.
Right.
And you were there already.
Yeah, so I opened, right after the store opened in Leawood, Kansas.
Yep.
They went in and they hired a bunch of initial people, and then I was the second phase of people.
Yes, so we were in the same group then.
Okay.
So we met at our wonderful Apple store, in the retail store in Leawood, 10 years ago. It's 2019.
Wow.
10 years
so
ago.
it has been 10 years. We've known each other that long.
Working in, I remember meeting Carrie. You were this clean-cut, hair combed over, always came after your
Work.
9 to 5 job.
Right.
So you worked, weekends and after hours, like suit, clean-cut, and it's just amazing to me, like the change now coming to Colorado and
Right.
focusing more on wellness, and it's just been so interesting because I remember like my experience with you was this like always clean shaven and combed hair and all this like short hair, almost not military cut, but
yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
I was working at the USDA doing cybersecurity, and so then there's a lot of integration for remedy and incident management, problem management, and things like that. So yeah, that's like a whole different life.
Whole different life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a whole different aspect. And then you're still part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of my nonprofit, and I want to appreciate you for that. Yeah. And then, so let's go into today. What are you grateful for? Or who? What is going on in your life today that just gives you a lot of gratitude?
Yeah. I think the things that the people that I'm grateful for are the people in my life. I think I'm pretty lucky, and it's pretty special, and I'm proud of the group and the people that I have in my life, and not just the friends and family that I'm closest with that I know I can call at any time, but I've had some experiences where I'm like, not so sure I want to see this person again, or wow, I can't believe that this kind of person can do these kinds of things, but I am grateful for that because these are experiences that I'm learning from, and also learning to say, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, you know what, I don't want to spend my energy in that environment or with that person, and so being, exposed to that kind of thing is actually not a terrible thing because it gives me the chance to maybe learn more about myself or grow more about myself and know I appreciate having this experience so that I can avoid it in the future or learn from it and learn how I want to be treating the people in my life or be treated myself. I know like the what is it, the golden, that phrase, like treat others the way you want to be treated.
The golden rule.
Golden rule, yeah. But really, it's not that.
I was thinking the golden goose egg.
I was like the golden rule, yes.
Golden chocolate bar. Like I had my mind on food, not on people.
Yeah, maybe we need a snack, but really, I've come to learn it's not just treat them how I want to be treated, but treat them how they want to be treated. Because how I want to be treated may not be the same as these other people. So it's been a good learning curve. But I'm so grateful. I have amazing people in my life. I have such a strong family. I know that I'm welcome anywhere I go. I can come out here. I have wonderful people in my life that it's so amazing to share some of my Kansas City family now in Colorado, having you here.
Yeah.
One of my old coworkers just moved here, so that's really special to me too. But
a coworker from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Wow.
From my hospital, so she's coming on this camping trip with me this weekend,
and where are you going camping? Where are you ladies going?
We are going to Taos, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to be in the ski valley. The goal is to do Mount Wheeler, which is the highest point in New Mexico.
Okay.
It's 13,000 something.
That's high.
Yeah, and there's a lot of snow still right now, so this will be one of those physical challenges.
Yes.
If it's even safe, we'll make that decision when we get there. But just like an escape to be outside sounds perfect to me right now. So.
Now, did she work? I know you recruited me to do yoga at the hospital. Was that the same hospital that she's from?
Yes, and she has been to. We both came to your opening at my KC.
Okay.
She came with me, and we fell in love with it. And she actually then started doing got into yoga significantly in Kansas City, and has just moved out here. She's not a teacher, but just the practice of it in wellness and.
Well, hopefully we can connect with her.
Oh my gosh, she would. Yeah, we would love that. Yeah.
Then the third question that we kind of segue into is like, who's been, and it doesn't have to be just one person, who's been the most influential or like a mentor in your life? And it could be, a family member or a friend or a colleague or any of that. So who's had the biggest influence in your life and why?
Disclaimer, I've watched some of your other podcasts, and so I was kind of like, who are these people choosing and how are they coming up with one person? And I like sat down to start writing this out because I wanted to know like who's the person that has influenced me the most. And I think that was my answer, that I couldn't come up with just one person.
Right.
And I hope this is a form of flattery, but I take things from people, personality, I take behavior and decisions, and I look at all of these people, I'm like, oh, I want to be more like that, or I want to do that, or I wish I had these things, or this part of this person. And so, I mean, I can tell you I had an amazing manager at my hospital in Kansas City, and she has definitely been the biggest influence to me in terms of career and how I think of healthcare and how I want to be a part of healthcare. And I always judge my decisions on how I think she might react, or
Gotcha.
I still reach out to her. I mean, I send her emails probably once a month asking her opinion and advice and things like that. But in general, my influencers, I honestly, I take things from all these people that I love and try to incorporate that into my life. I'm like, you know what, I need to be more mindful like Carrie. I need to take these things and have more of a positive attitude about it, and tell people, like, oh, you always end a conversation with, I appreciate you, I love you. And that is so fantastic, to just that one little comment, rather than, even if it was a stressful day, or, we had something not even exciting to talk about, like, hey, there's a meeting agenda and to accomplish something, and then just to end it with, hey, I appreciate you. It's like, oh, that's what this whole thing is about. There's no need to, like, get all flustered and get caught up in things, but appreciate the people, and
they're doing their best. Most of us are really genuinely just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
So to divert a little bit, because you've talked about the hospital, you talked about Apple. What did you do at Apple? What was your position there?
When I started at Apple, my official title was concierge.
Okay.
I wore the bright orange shirt.
They don't have those anymore. You're the
No,
person.
they got rid of the concierge, and they told me I would be moving into a specialist role, which is essentially the sales role.
Okay.
And that I got the oh shit.
What? I just want to greet people.
No, yeah.
What time's your appointment?
Exactly. When I love people, so when people walk in the door, I mean, whatever those tests are, your personality tests. Mine was like enthusiastic and adventurer is like my number one. Like I'm usually smiling. I'm pretty wear my emotions on my sleeve, but people walk in the door, I want to know what's going on, help them find the solution, and it's not me selling them, it's me finding the right person. I like to delegate, I like to have conversations and just get to know people. So when I have to be responsible and have like a quota of numbers I'm supposed to meet, that scared me, that was terrifying. And mostly I don't like things I'm not good at, which I know is... I own it. I own that I don't like things I'm not good at. I like having challenges if I know I can improve to that. But, so they told me I'd be in this specialist role. But I think I had a fantastic... I think Apple was one of my favorite jobs. It was such a great way for me to meet people and to kind of find my flow of, okay, I do like delegating. I like having a leadership presence and things, and I think our management team recognized that in me. And so even though my title was specialist, I was still in charge of managing the floor. And so my specialist role was usually still, hey, when people walk in the door, you need to help tell them where they need to go, find the right solution for them in terms of maybe people. And of course, like I had 100% on all of our quotas because I would sell maybe one computer, and so then I looked really good. So, but no, I definitely was not a sale. So but I did that through grad school while I was studying. So it was a weekend thing for me, and then after hours. And I think that's why we had a lot of shifts together, is because our
weekends,
our schedules lined up.
And so where did you go to grad school?
I did graduate school at Rockhurst University in Kansas City, studying occupational therapy. And I know one of your friends here is Ashley, is in OT school, right?
Yes.
So
it's a small, and she's from Kansas City.
Yeah.
We've had all these people transition from Kansas City to like around Colorado. So you did occupational therapy the hospital
Yep.
in Kansas City, and then so what are you doing now?
Now I'm still technically an occupational therapist.
Okay.
I've maintained my license. When I moved to Denver, I was trying to find that place that I still felt was right for me. For me, working is a huge part of my life because I spend a lot of time doing it.
Absolutely.
So I want to find something that I'm so passionate about and I love. And I knew I would never have the same situation that I had in Kansas City. And at St. Luke's, I was in patient care. I was also in a leadership role,
Right.
so I got to have an amazing team to work with and still get my passion of being with patients and watching them progress. And I know that's very hard to find. There's not a lot of leadership roles where you get to do both. So I knew that that would be a challenge coming out here. So I thought, well, I'll just completely change my flow and do something completely different. So I started in home health, where I would travel to people's homes and do therapy within their home. So these are people who are typically homebound. They do not have the physical or other resources to get to clinics. They're not quite ready to go to an outpatient setting, but still need therapy to help them in their home. So I quickly learned that moving to a new city alone, because I moved here with my dog. I didn't come with a group or come to be with a boyfriend or anything like that. I came alone.
Solo, yeah.
Traveling all around rural Colorado is not the best way for someone who craves social interaction. So I really struggled because I didn't have a group or a community to, not just in general, but a community with work. I'm used to coming at 7 a.m. and I know, oh, Carrie had this situation yesterday and I got to ask Beth about her kid's birthday party. You know, all these things that are in my mind, I didn't have that to check in with. So I think I was driving to people's homes and I would still be calling my office in Kansas City, checking in on my coworkers because I missed that so much. And it wasn't a right fit for me.
Gotcha.
Maybe specifically right after moving to a new city.
And when did you relocate from Kansas City to Denver?
In 2017. End of summer, early fall.
So it's been almost 2 years. Yeah. It's been a while, which is crazy.
Yes, I can't believe that it's been that long. It feels like I just moved here still, but.
And what was the draw to? I mean, why leave Kansas City? You had such a great family, a lot of friends. Like we still have friends that we keep in touch with from Apple that you feel like they're brothers and sisters, right? And the great work. I mean, why leave all that to come here?
People are thinking I'm crazy. I was
extremely
I am crazy.
But we love you.
That's good. That's why that's right. I was extremely happy. I was content. I was comfortable. And I think that's kind of the word that has made me realize maybe I should try something new. I was comfortable and everything was ready. Work, I was, moving along. Things were going great. I had family. I had my core group of friends from college and work. I was very content and happy. But I don't want to say I was missing something, but I missed that feeling of being unsure and adventure and having a challenge.
Yeah, challenges and unknown,
Yeah, which is a scary feeling, but I didn't realize that I did kind of like that feeling. And it was more of a personal environmental change I was looking for. Career-wise, I had the perfect situation, as I've already said. So that was the hardest part to me, was leaving and making that decision to end that chapter, because I was pretty sure I may not find that again. But I knew that if I didn't make this choice now to try something new and to challenge myself, I still considered myself young, so it was an okay time to do it.
Not old like me.
Right, exactly. That's old. No, but I was at a point where I was like, okay, I can do this now, and if I don't do it now, I may not, because once I get into that comfort, I don't know if I'd be able to leave it. And I love Kansas City. Who knows? I may return there. That can always happen. I would be extremely happy in Kansas City. That's all I really knew.
Right.
I grew up in Minnesota, but then everything since then was
Kansas City.
And so I just was like, okay, if you don't do it now, it may not happen. What's the worst that can happen?
Right, that's true. So take the risk.
Take the risk.
And what have you learned? What have been some of your challenges, your unexpected challenges, and what have you seen the growth within yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. Challenges, I think the first one was career-wise. I was so in such a great place, and I had the perfect situation in Kansas City, and so not having that was a shock to my system, because again, it's something you do for so much of your day.
Yes.
That you want that to be something, for me, I need it to be something I'm passionate about and that I enjoy doing.
I think one thing with the people that you worked with, they genuinely cared about other people.
Oh, it had everything to do with the people.
You know, it's not like a lot of people that go to work every day for this this money or this title.
Yeah.
But because I taught meditation and mindfulness, and then I worked with the cardio rehab group or something like that. I went in there and helped. And the people that you work with, really, they're there because they care.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, you don't get into therapy and rehab for the money.
Right.
Unfortunately, but it's definitely for the people, and not just the people that we're helping, but the people, each other, because if you just feed off that energy of wanting to learn more. I mean, we had all these opportunities for education, and it's thrilling and it's motivating to see how other people are so ready to learn and willing to learn more. Like someone who's been there for 30 years going to a new class and coming back and teaching something that they hadn't. I mean, it's just
amazing. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah, so
that was
a hard challenge for me, because I loved work. I would come home and I'd be working on my either patient documentation or employee reports, and I'd have a glass of wine, and I was happy with that. It was okay to be at home, have a glass of wine, and do my work, because it was enjoyable to me. So then coming and wanting to get away from work and separate myself from work was kind of a shock, because I'm like, I'm not used to this. Now I live in this fantastic, beautiful place that it was easy to be like, well, I'm going skiing this weekend, so I have something to look forward to. So I kind of was noticing that I wasn't excited to live in the moment, but more had things to look forward to. And that's easy to do, living in the mountains. Like, there's always something exciting, like
I get that 100%.
A happy hour, going hiking, doing a camping trip. So it's easy to have those things to look forward to, and I still have those things. But I'm a person that I like immediate gratification, and I recognize that.
And you want to be happy when you're going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Most people commute to work. They commute home. It's either 30 minutes to an hour drive, and with traffic and everything else, and you want it to be enjoyable. You want that to be. You want to find joy in that.
Yeah.
So when you first got here, what was that experience like?
I didn't find that joy. I didn't feel that joy, and I'm sure that was then expressed to. It's hard for me to hide my emotions. So if I'm unhappy, then I'm sure my patients may, no one ever said anything or anything like that, but
they can tell.
Yeah, and I'm sure I wasn't putting 100% effort into what I was doing, and that's not fair to me or to the people that I'm treating. Absolutely, especially as a therapist, where I'm used to, helping others, and if I'm not giving my all, then it's not the right choice. But so I made the decision to find something new, and kind of explored a new route in. More of the background scene. So I was working in a rehab unit where I was recruiting patients for this rehab unit. So I got to travel to other hospitals and meet patients who had some sort of trauma and needed to go to rehab in a hospital setting. I would, review their case, write up their report, and see if they were an appropriate match. And then also it was a little bit of marketing of, hey, you should come to this place because this is what we can offer you.
Gotcha.
And so I didn't feel like a salesperson, because I wasn't selling. I was selling myself. I was selling like therapy. Like, hey, you need this.
Health and wellness.
Yeah, health and wellness. This isn't. Yeah. So I realized like I'm in the right field. Like healthcare is perfect for me, and it's great. And that was fun because it was an exciting gig. I got to wear real clothes instead of scrubs. And get people to where they needed to be so they could go home. The goal for rehab is to go home and be independent. And so people recognize that, and so it's an easy selling point to do rehab that way. But that unit was closing. They were merging with a competitor, and so I then had to make a decision to either continue with working with this competitor that kind of bought out that rehab unit, or see what else is out there. And just to see what was going on, of course, I'm checking all of the social media outlets of what's happening, and I had a message in my LinkedIn inbox. Back in Kansas City, I had the opportunity to work with vendors and technology that we wanted to purchase for the rehab unit, and we bought this robot. It's an upper extremity robot, so it helps people after stroke or brain injury or spinal cord injury to regain movement. It's connected to a screen, so it's kind of like playing video games, but also getting assistance from the robot when the patient can't complete a movement. It kicks in. And I'd had a message from that sales rep, and she said, hey, Kate, I heard you moved to Denver. Our company's expanding. We're looking for clinicians to train around the country other therapists on how to use our device
Wow.
once their hospitals purchased it.
So it's perfect timing.
It was like perfect timing, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's kind of a startup
Right.
company, totally new avenue, get to be in a teaching role, which I love, so being with other clinicians,
Right.
get to have my patient care, because I'm using patients to train the therapist, they have to
Right.
be on it to demonstrate the device, and kind of learning more about, how insurance affects purchasing, and how do hospitals come up with funding for,
Oh, yeah.
it's not a cheap device,
No.
to be honest,
Right.
but how does this happen? And so it wasn't a hard decision for me to make, to say, I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump in and do this. I know it's a risk, because
Right.
who knows what can happen.
But I think that's
but
what
again,
you missed sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Is that risk?
That risk. And
So how long
yeah.
have you been working for this company?
I started with them in October of last year. So
Do you remember the first time that we met each other in Denver? Do you remember that? How serendipitous that was?
oh my gosh, yes. Uh-huh.
So my daughter opened a waxing salon
Mhm.
right across the street from where you lived.
Like 10 feet away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is,
Mhm.
isn't that crazy? So I always
Mhm.
believe that, like, no matter where we move or locate, like, our paths are going to cross.
Mhm.
It's inevitable.
Mhm.
And that was just the craziest thing
Yeah.
was you're like, I'm going to walk right across the street
Yeah, yeah.
to your daughter's waxing salon.
That
So-
was I mean, incredible. Literally across the street. And had you moved here then?
No.
No, you were visiting.
We were just visiting.
Yeah.
We were going through, I forgot what the circumstance was
Like
while we were in town. But
California or something. I don't know. You're doing a big trip.
yeah, and that was
And
it.
she had just opened it, so got to see it, and
Yeah. Which
yeah,
is
and
crazy.
connected with her. So now I have we're social media
Right.
connected with your daughter, and which is funny because I haven't met one of your daughters, but obviously
youngest one.
connected with
Yeah.
your son back in Kansas City
Yes.
because he used to come with you to places, and then
Right.
your daughter here. So yeah, it's so crazy. It's a small world, but
Mhm.
not, because it's your family.
Yeah. So, what have been some of the pros and cons compared to Colorado? Let's just say Colorado to Kansas City, because you lived on the Kansas side, and there's also Missouri. But
Mm-hmm.
people that aren't familiar with Kansas City, a lot of people think, oh, it's flat and it's barbecue and there's
Yeah.
cattle and there's
Yeah.
cowboys walking around.
Which is
but
all true, yes.
But it has, I mean, there's a lot of IT, there's a lot of
Oh my gosh.
modern
Mhm.
technology,
Mhm.
There's a lot of arts, there's a lot of entertainment, there's amazing food.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think probably some of the best restaurants in America
Mm-hmm.
are in Kansas
I
City.
agree with you. Yeah.
So, what have you seen some of the, not to discredit Denver and the crazy traffic, because that's not Kansas City.
Yeah.
That's definitely, like, if you have to commute, it's
Yeah.
definitely a con. But what have been some of the pros and cons you've noticed between Kansas City and Denver? Because you live downtown, kind of, right, or somewhere?
I live right down, in
Okay.
Uptown is the neighborhood, but yeah. I've lived on the Kansas side and the Missouri side, and
Okay.
I lived right by the plaza area, so
Okay.
I bike to work every day, which is fantastic. I think even though Kansas City is a big city,
Right.
it still has enough of a more smaller community
Yes.
feel that I didn't need to put anything in my directions in my phone to find
Right.
where I was going. I knew, oh, it's at 16th and
Right.
whatever, and I could find it myself without having to search for it. Whereas here, I think I was almost an hour late getting to your house because there
A
was
wreck.
a car on
Right,
fire on the
right.
highway that stopped traffic, which
There's always
something.
always a wreck.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
It's always going to be a delay.
The traffic is definitely something that I put in the negative category, but also you have to understand everyone wants to go to the mountains, and so I
Yes.
get that. Of course, there's gonna be traffic when you're getting on these small winding roads, but
Right.
I do miss the community feeling, the small, and this is also career related. I'm in a remote role now where when I'm not traveling, I'm working from home, so I don't have a team of people that I see
Right.
every day. Which
miss that.
I'm a definitely a social person, and I crave having that connection with people in person. So that's something that I miss, which maybe doesn't have anything to do with Kansas City itself, but
Well, it's just kind of a relocation.
it is, yeah. And it's
You've had that before.
crazy the group of people that I see the most here. There are about 5 of us from my high school in Rochester, Minnesota, a smaller town in Minnesota, that all live out here now. I didn't stay in touch with them other than social media through college and
Right.
afterwards.
But they've
And
all
now
ended
here we
in-
are. Yeah, we graduated high school in 2004, and now we've reconnected in 2017. And I live with one of them now, and so it's just, I mean, people are amazing that
Right.
these connections, and I think it's fantastic. Like I'm so close to them now, and learning their stories and personalities. They're all such special people, and so of course there's a part of me that's sad that we didn't, have that for the past however many years. But now we have it, and maybe wouldn't have any other way if I hadn't made the decision to move. Like I try not to live with. It's hard not to live with regrets, but I try not to because I'm hoping that whether it happened for a reason, it happened.
It did, and it's positive or negative, but it's a learning experience.
It's a learning experience.
And I think a lot of us, we look down upon ourselves the most, right? Other people are like, oh, whatever, that that's normal. But to us, it's like we wake up, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, or I'm so dumb, or I wish I would have done this, or what if I would have done these things different?
Just relive that moment.
But you think about everything, and I think everything does happen for a reason. And a lot of times, if you go back to what you said to people in your life that you appreciate and love the most, like a lot of those people that made the same dumb mistakes over and over were learning experiences for you to not make those mistakes, right?
Over and over, yeah.
And so that's kind of how I looked at growing up too, is like there were certain relatives I really admired, and I'm like, oh, they really know how to raise their daughter or their son, and this is how they treat their kids, or not. And there's other relatives that didn't treat their kids so well. So I think you always pick those things up from other people, and that's very important. So con is the traffic. Con's
the traffic. Pro is that I'm proud of myself for this brave change that I've made. Pro is that I've reconnected with people
from
that
high school
I never would have stayed in touch with. Pro is that I've made new connections. All these adventures. I mean, I was not a big hiking person. I lived in Minnesota and Kansas. You really don't have that many options. But now I've done multiple 14ers where I'm hiking, these giant mountains, camping whenever I can. I'm an hour and a half drive to a ski valley to ski in the wintertime.
So where do you go skiing?
My favorite is Winter Park.
Okay.
And I think I'm a little biased. My dad has some family that have homes in Winter Park.
Okay.
And so
it's just easy, convenient.
It's convenient. Yeah. Sometimes they let me spend the night there, and if they're there, I get to spend time with my family. I have a cousin who is let me do the math. He would be my second cousin once removed.
Okay.
And he's 45. His children are around 16 and 12.
Right. And
so I went to dinner at their home last night, and these are extended family members on my dad's side that I really wouldn't have seen that often or stayed in touch with. We don't spend a lot of holidays with that much extended of family, and so on that side at least. And so to live in the same city as them, we've gone on hikes together, we've skied, I go to their house for dinner, and so it's just this is it's family,
right?
But it's also new relationships. I walk in there and just hearing their interactions together, and we're sitting at the dinner table, and they have this ritual or routine where they're sitting at dinner, and the name of the game is everyone goes around and says, best thing that happened today, worst thing that happened today, and something I've learned. And so we played it last night, and their 16-year-old son, teenager,
of course,
sitting there, I'm wondering what he's going to say, maybe some video game or something he did with his friend, and he said, the best part of the day is having Kate over for dinner. And I was just like, oh my god, what a sweet thing for someone that you don't think,
16,
just so meaningful. And he probably doesn't know how special that was for me to hear that I don't see them that often, that he would say that, and it was just, so sweet and so kind, and so I'm super thankful that I've reconnected or even continue that connection with extended family. He's on my dad's side, and both of my dad's parents recently passed away, one a couple months ago and one exactly a year prior. And so you get nervous. I mean, of course, very sad to have lost. She was 97, so what a beautiful life. But I was nervous that, does this mean this has closed some connection with that side of the family? Does that mean we won't see them as often? Are my parents' generation, is my generation going to be as good about continuing to have, family trips together or holidays together? And it made me say, no, I want to, that's up to us, and so I have to make that decision to connect people and be a part of that. So I'm not worried about it, because I think it's maybe different, but it's going to be great, and we're going to continue to have that special relationship.
So you kind of touched on that you're proud. What are some of the other feelings that you have felt
since moving here?
Yes.
Well, definitely fear and a lot of anxiety. Woo! A lot of anxiety.
Right.
been on a couple different medications to make sure I wasn't, just too anxious to
Right.
function, because driving around with that home health job, driving around and just feeling constantly like alone.
Right.
And like I was coming up to this farmhouse. It was rural Colorado, and there was a llama running across the street. And I'm like, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere with a llama.
Tumbleweeds.
Yeah, like what
Prince,
am I
yeah.
doing? This is crazy. Fear of the unknown, fear that I had left such a perfect situation and that I was gonna fail. And
Right.
I'm super sensitive to the views of others, and I thought, oh God, everyone's gonna judge me. I've made this decision, and now I look like a complete fool because I've left a great job, and now I'm gonna be unhappy with work. I'm alone out here. I'm not gonna be able to afford it. Let's be
Right.
honest, Denver is not cheap.
No, it's
Just-
I mean, compared to Kansas City,
Yeah.
it's so expensive.
Yeah. So the anxiety skyrocketed, the
Right.
fear skyrocketed, but I'm so blessed to have such supportive friends and family.
Right,
And
that helped you through this
Yeah.
entire situation. Yeah.
I think I called my dad one day driving to some, rural home, and was having a meltdown, and he just said, you made the right choice.
Yeah.
Because that's the choice you made. It was
Right.
you thought it through, you made this decision, and you're going to get through this.
Right.
And I remember when he said, like, you made the right choice, just that kind of confirmation, like, I did.
And you feel that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, today
Oh
you
my
do.
gosh,
I mean,
yeah.
through all the unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
Right.
It has made me realize that work is not everything. As much as I miss that job in Kansas City, and if I could have that here, I would snatch it in a heartbeat.
Right.
It's not your everything, and so I'm trying to focus on the people in my life. And I have this amazing dog, and I get to take her with me everywhere in Colorado. And we can go on a hike in the afternoon. We can go camping on a Tuesday night because I can get back quick enough to start
Yeah.
work on a
Right.
Wednesday.
And then how does that feel? What's it feel like when you go hiking and you're in nature?
Oh my gosh, just relief.
Mhm.
I mean, you're disconnected. There's no, phones, and I gotta
Right.
check my email or text someone or do something. It's just, truly, I hope that I never take for granted the beauty of this place, and I don't think I will. I still, like, when we're driving to the mountains, just looking at what's in front of me, like, I live here. I can do
Right.
this whenever I want. I can just drive to this beautiful place. But it's just, and to hear people laughing and be with a group of people that also appreciate the beauty. And we did a beautiful hike last weekend.
Where'd you go?
We did the West Ridge Loop, close by,
Okay, I don't know.
not too far. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I think it's a common mountain bike trail as well.
Okay.
So bikes are whizzing past us, and I could have been pissed off and
Right.
frustrated that these bikes are
Right.
ruining. But no, these people are outside enjoying
Riding their bike.
life,
Right.
getting an amazing workout,
Yes.
and chose to do this versus
Being in the city.
being in a city, or not even just but doing something that wasn't as
Right.
productive or healthy for their life. So you look past that, and who cares? Like, they're
Right.
out here enjoying the same trail I am.
Yes.
It's not hard to just step off, let them go past,
Right.
get back on. We saw 3 deer with antlers,
Nice.
like, just we're right next to me, just right
Right.
there.
Yeah, they are like so close. They're so timid.
They're so timid.
It's insane. Like if
Yeah.
I knew if I didn't have dogs, like I could probably feed those things
Oh,
an
yeah.
apple or something.
Yeah.
Like
The
it's-
dog definitely changes that. Yeah.
But
Charlie was on high alert, my dog,
Yeah.
but
Molly and Prince have transitioned really well. At first, they were like, "What's this big dog?"
yeah.
Or this big, even like when they see an elk.
An elk, I think, would be a different story,
Yeah.
I would assume.
They're still, but the thing is, I'm very cautious, so I don't get too close to any of those wild animals,
No.
especially an elk. But, we've probably been on the trail 10 feet away from deer easily.
Wow.
And they're normally like really, really good.
Yeah, this is my trail. What are you
Yeah,
doing here?
yeah.
Have you run into anything scary, like a moose or a coyote or?
So when we lived in a van in Colorado Springs, there was a bobcat, and it takes all your strength to hold the dogs back from cats. Like cats are like, they'll love to kill a cat. They would love to hunt and bring home a cat.
Even this giant cat that
Yeah.
has huge
And
claws.
so one night we were walking and we heard something kind of strange, and I went home and Googled like mountain lion hissing, and that's what it was. I went back the next day in the morning at sunrise, and I saw the mountain lion tracks, because they're as big as your
my
fist,
gosh,
right
yeah.
in front of us in the snow. But there was coyotes, and I still haven't like figured out coyotes, like because they'll run across, they'll be behind you, and then they'll run across in the trail, and then they'll jump up, and they'll just get like over a little berm or behind a tree or something, and they'll just kind of sit there and look at you and look away and look at you. So I haven't figured out
Aren't they usually in a pack? Or like,
well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking brothers and sisters are behind me somewhere that I can't see.
Surrounding you.
Right.
Yeah, ready to.
Right. So in Colorado Springs, I saw a lot more of those kind of animals. Only at Three Sisters have I seen 4 coyote together walking across.
Wow.
And it was right when you go in. Like, well, you know, I don't park with a red barn. I park closer to the high school. And so as you go in and you go to the right, it's an area, we call it the graveyard because there's always dead carcasses there.
Oh
and there was 4, and then the last one did that. He just kind of stopped and looked and check you out. So I haven't figured out coyotes yet. But I believe between Prince and Molly, they could take at least a coyote.
Yeah, you got 2 larger dogs.
And they're very, very protective.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're so protective of me.
I wouldn't be worried with these 2. Yeah. My smaller dog, she thinks she's a pit bull, but she's not.
So we haven't seen moose. We've seen a lot of elk, and they've been exposed to elk and a lot of wildlife, and they're really good. I mean, they still want to chase rabbits. They still want to chase squirrels and chipmunks. The little things like, you know.
Yeah.
Like that.
Things they can catch that won't bite back. Yeah.
And I'm sure I've seen a lot of photos. Like you take your dog on all your little hikes as well in your adventures.
Yeah.
And what are some of your other hobbies? So do you hike and you ski, and what else?
My big one, I can't believe I haven't brought this up yet, that I think has really bridged that gap of what was I maybe missing, or what's something passionate to me that I wasn't taking advantage of, and that's singing. I'm not clearing my throat to start singing, I promise.
Well, you can bust
just
it too.
Bust out, yeah. But I loved to sing in high school and college. I was in a choir. And
are you in a choir here?
Yes.
Okay.
I recently joined the Denver Choir League. Okay. Which is a fantastic group. There's no audition. Everyone is welcome, which is amazing.
So I can even sing.
You can, yes. It's amazing that everyone in there though is so talented. I don't know how they've made people realize like this is a real choir. You have to be. I mean, you should be able to read music, get on pitch easily because we're singing like more classical things as well as fun stuff with kick around. I had an amazing experience a few months ago. A band was coming through and their final show was at Red Rocks. Okay. And they reached out to my choir director and asked if some of us would sing with them at Red Rocks. So you were able to sing. I was able, yeah. So
you were on stage with this band singing, and I bet that was like, I mean, you probably couldn't even explain like.
I blacked out. I don't.
So much joy.
It was. There were about 20 of us, 10 guys and 10 girls that were able to have this experience, and we were in metallic purple choir robes because the song was Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Oh wow! So the 2 bands, they were kind of alternating headlining their whole tour, and so they came together at the end, and we came up on stage behind them and sang Bohemian Rhapsody. But I think we finally got on stage at 11 something.
Oh, so it was late. Especially
it was so late. It was a Tuesday night, I think. But as soon as we got on stage, it was just like, I'm looking at this crowd, and I know they're not there for me, but it's hard not to just feel that joy and energy from these people who are so excited, and they knew as soon as this choir got on that something cool was going to happen. Right. And it was amazing. It was a great experience. I think it's online, recorded somewhere. I don't remember how well we sounded, but just so much fun. So much fun. Such joy.
Well, their cars going slow. Usually they go slow because there's an animal out there. A deer or elk or something crossing the road. I don't see anything. No, not at all. So you do So do you guys do performances year round, kind of, or is it like more the holidays, or?
No, that's what we have cycles. Okay. We're taking a break over the summer months. Our director is a teacher, and I think when school's over, she wants a little break too. Yeah. So we're taking a little break from any performances, but each cycle is 8 or 12 weeks long, and we'll have a concert at the end of it. Gotcha. We perform at different alcohol establishments around the city. Really? That I don't know how she has kind of a connection with them, but our last cycle, for example, was at Mile High Spirits Distillery. Okay. And so they let us rehearse in the barrel room once a week.
Really? Mm-hmm.
So people are coming in now getting like their drinks and stuff, and we're in the back in the barrel room singing, this Latin beautiful song.
Where do you normally rehearse?
Each cycle's at a different
Really?
bar. Yeah, one of them was at Union Station, and then the concert is also at
that location
venue. Yeah, so they have at Mile High Spirits, for example, they have a big stage that we stood on, and they charge an admittance fee, so the bar definitely gets a benefit too.
Right.
Having us perform there, but every week they have different drink specials for the choir, but even like some people don't drink, but they still come and enjoy the music, and
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
I saw the photo, but I didn't understand the concept of what actually occurred with you at Red Rocks.
Yes.
Now I understand all of it.
Yeah, on stage, one song
with everybody. That's so amazing.
Yeah, we got there at 1 p.m. and performed at 11 p.m. So it was a long day, but we were in, the green room in the back and interacting with the musicians and just
so cool.
Getting to see that perspective and how things happen there. And it was just so exciting. I mean, Red Rocks is such a special venue.
It is. Don't you just feel, excited, or it's a mix of feelings. When I've never seen a performance there, but I go there and when people come into town, I take them. So I feel really connected to nature. I feel really grounded, but I also feel a lot of sense of excitement. There's something special about that place that gives you this positive energy that you normally don't feel.
Yeah. For me, music in general is like a stress reliever. I have a, for every emotion, there's some kind of music that fits that and helps me through it.
Yes.
Like the soundtrack to certain movies that have such a connection to you, or you hear something and I think of a memory, like I hear this song and I know exactly what it makes me think of.
No, I get that.
And I think that energy is just, connected in Red Rocks and
there.
people,
all the history for over 100 years. No, I get that, because like with my playlist for yoga have a certain direction that I want to go, and what a lot of people don't realize is that normally most yoga people, when they'll do a sequence and then they'll do the music, well, I do it opposite. I usually create a playlist and it's the lyrics behind those songs of what's going on in my life, and then from that playlist is where I create the moves and the movement for the yoga.
I love that.
So it's a little bit different, but I allowed that music and the feelings and the emotions tied behind that to motivate me or empower me to create that certain type of yoga sequence. So
that makes sense, because every class of yours I've been to is just so emotional, and the flow, I know using that word is very typical for yoga, but like the flow between the music and what you've asked others to try to do is so intentional, and it works. Whereas I did a class recently and the music didn't seem to fit what was happening, and it kind of takes you out of that space where you're focusing on your breathing and your thoughts or whatever your intention was, and you're like, oh, I would have picked a different song, or then you're like, wait a minute, get back to what you're focusing on, but no, yours are always so intentional, and also my favorite part about your classes is when you always ask us to think of something you're either thankful for, grateful for, or something that you want to focus on, and then I'm not like, you always tell us how bold and beautiful, and you always feel good, whether I'm like expelling some like negative energy, I still feel good at the end of it, because of and you come in with like an intentional touch. I'm a very like touch sensitive person, and so like when someone that like means something when you like, oh yeah, I'm really gonna like exclamation this point by a touch, and I think that totally worked for me. It works. Some people were like, don't touch me, but I like it.
Well, and I always go back to you almost made sound kind of creepy when I was teaching at the hospital, because she's like, oh, just wait till he touches you, you're gonna love it. I was like, wait.
Kate,
you gotta kind of preface.
We have to take sensitivity training. I think I explained it to them, but it's in a good way. But
it was funny, the way they explained it to me, it's like I was gonna be some creeper guy just coming in and touching all the women or something.
No. Oh my gosh, funny. That's my fault. Sorry. No, I think everyone then was like, oh, we get what you mean. Yeah, that was just like
afterwards,
like on your shoulder or something like.
Yeah,
just accentuates the...
After the fact they understood what you meant. It's hard to explain a lot of times unless you've experienced it, you know. So your hobbies are singing, you're in a choir, and you like to hike and you like to ski. Is there anything else that goes on in your life?
Family is a huge... I don't know if that's a hobby, but connecting with my family.
I felt like that from the beginning, though.
Yeah.
Like even in Leawood, I felt like you were really connected to your family.
Yeah, now I have to make a little more of an effort because I don't live 2
Right.
blocks away from everyone. So whether it's just, now it's so easy, you can send a text that you're thinking of someone.
Right.
But I travel a lot for work, but I also enjoy traveling myself. And so going back to Kansas City I love it. I find joy in it.
It's always welcoming.
It's so welcoming.
I feel like Kansas City just always welcomes you with open arms.
Yeah, it still feels like home.
It's doesn't feel toxic. It doesn't
No.
feel negative. I think that's one of the things that you go to a lot of other cities and you don't feel as like invited.
Mhm.
But Kansas City always
Mhm.
makes people feel invited and welcome.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe part of that is that we've built such great experiences
Right.
there and relationships that we know we're welcome there. But I think even strangers will tell me to go there, and like you hit on, the restaurant scene is fantastic.
Oh my
I think the
gosh,
food is so
yes.
great. I'm happy with their music venues and
Yes.
the bands and the
It's so
music that
diverse.
comes through.
Every
yeah, it's so diverse.
weekend, right?
Every weekend
you
there's something.
every weekend.
Yeah, it makes
It's
it like, why didn't I take better advantage of that?
Right.
Because I'll see someone here, and then I hear they're going to Kansas City. I'm like, I bet it was a lot cheaper there,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot more accessible. But
yeah, a lot easier.
yeah. No, it's traveling back to Kansas City always feels home. Always feels great. I have 10 different places I can stay. I love it. My dog can come with me.
Yeah. So do you fly or drive home, or back to Kansas City?
I think I've only flown back once. Otherwise, I usually drive.
Yeah.
I love driving. Being in my car, turn that music up.
Right. I will say that's
windows
the worst
down.
drive. There's 2 drives that I do not like:
Oh.
Kansas City to Denver and Oklahoma City to Amarillo, Texas. Those are like the 2
Oh,
worst drives.
I've never done the second one, but I
it's-
can't imagine that it's.
Well, and you got to think, I'm
pleasant.
in a big van, so when the wind's
You
blowing,
feel everything.
yes.
Why do you go to Amarillo, Texas?
No, well, that was with family, but when I go to Kansas City, so I still go to Kansas City
Yeah.
for Warriors Ascent
Yeah.
and yoga and things like that, and so that drive to me, it's like I try to enjoy that journey, but I feel like midway through Kansas, I know that wind's going to come like 30 miles
Yep.
an hour, you know. That,
Yeah.
And you get that one little spot where there's like 10 cops next to the army base. You ever notice that?
Oh.
For,
No, but I probably should because I.
yeah,
haven't
there's
lived
always
there.
like 10 cops in this one little section.
Yeah.
So,
That's good to. I'll be more conscious of that. I do appreciate that the speed limit is higher. Just
yes.
Nice to get things faster.
I
Yeah,
never
it's
drive
not
the speed
speedy.
limit though. I'm always
You're
like,
you go under?
yeah, I'm always like 70 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh! So how long does it take you to get there?
Well,
10 hours.
longer because I have to get up every 2 hours and walk and stretch
move.
and move, and then the dog. So it takes us like 12 hours. So we usually do it in a 2-day
Yeah.
stint. So what we'll do is we'll depend on when we arrive. So like Warriors Ascent starts on a Monday, so we usually leave here Sunday and get there Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll leave on a Friday and get back here on a Saturday.
Okay.
And so we have stayed in every little campground or
Just in the van.
in the van, wherever, on the side of the road.
That's amazing.
I mean, wherever. And that's the benefits of having, your home in a van,
Uh-huh.
is that you can sleep and stay pretty much
Mobile.
anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. We've stayed in a lot of like the Pilot or Flying J's or like
Mhm.
truck
Yep,
stops,
yep.
so just away.
Crazy. I mean, but think of like the experiences that you're getting there. Whereas to me, it's a 5-minute pit stop. But
Right.
for you, it's like, hey, this is for
This is
the
home.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're,
This is what
we're
we're gonna
hanging
do.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet you meet some really interesting people.
We have. I mean, the thing is, I would have to say most of the time everybody's really, really cordial. There's a lot of people very inquisitive, especially
Mhm.
here, because I don't drive the van except for maybe once a month, like if we're camping or we're doing something, then I'll drive the van. Or if the Forerunner's in the shop for whatever reason. But people are very inquisitive about it because it's a very unique van. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of people that have
No.
customized a Ford Transit the way that I have.
Uh-huh.
And so that's a lot of people is like, what's in here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of inquiry,
Uh-huh.
So that's what we get. But we've never had any odd or negative, any situation where I felt threatened or I
Mhm.
needed to defend myself,
Good.
ever.
Good.
So that's one thing about those places is that most of the time it's really just the same kind
People
of person.
curious.
Yeah.
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 That's great.
So what else about you? Tell me something that I kind of knew, I guess, the choir now that I think about it, but what else about you?
What did you ask earlier that you didn't know?
Dating. I've never
Oh,
talked to you
yeah.
about dating, so tell me, like,
Oh my
do
gosh,
you
we did
date?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do date. You were asking me about online dating.
Yeah, so tell me, like,
Yeah.
did you do online dating in Kansas and here, and what is...
I've done online dating in Kansas City and in Denver. They call Denver Menver because there's apparently a lot of guys here, which is very true. I think it's a much bigger city, so there's much more people, a different group of people, different selection. I've had success with online dating, but I would not consider myself a fan of online dating.
Gotcha.
I am a social person. I like meeting people, and I could talk to a wall if I had to.
Right.
I'm okay with that. So meeting people in person is much more, it's much more fun for me, much more interesting to have that like initial connection and interaction, and tell right away like, oh, I'm romantically interested in this person, or this is just another person I'm meeting, and
just
potential friendship.
Right.
Yeah. I'm so guilty of this, but I also feel for online dating that it's so easy because you're so disconnected, and it's just typing to a screen. It's so easy to back out of things or not be fully intentional.
Flaky.
So flaky. I've canceled so many times for no good reason. I just was like, I'd rather not do anything tonight.
Right.
And I don't like that about myself. I don't like that, that's something that I found so easy to do.
Do you think, and why do you think society is that way nowadays? Why do you think there's a lack of commitment, or like, my thing is, to me, if I met you online and I was really, really excited, then I would almost take that personable that it was something against me.
Yeah, and I would feel the same way. And then it's hard to come back from that, like, okay, well, now I'm ready. It's been 2 days.
Right.
Now I'd like to retry. But there's always the, like, oh, she's the one that canceled that first day, and that's your story, kind of. And I know many people who've become engaged. Three of my best friends, their husbands are from 3 different online dating sites. And that's fantastic, and that's amazing that they have found this person that they are ready to commit to for the rest of their lives
online
from an app.
And it's worked.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So has it not worked for you as well?
Well, I'm single right now, so no, it hasn't worked. But no, I've had some great experiences. I'm not good at maintaining platonic relationships after I've been in a relationship romantically with someone.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it's too hard that I can't separate that,
right,
or know how to interact with them other than being with them. So
do you think it's the attraction? Like, a lot of times people get confused. Like, there's an attraction between us. It's never been sexual or sensual or anything like that. It's always been like a really good friendship. But do you think that, like, once you cross that line, you feel like that barrier, you can't have that barrier,
take
that
it
bond,
back, kind of
you
thing?
can't take it back. It's like, I've already had this intimate relationship with you, and I feel like that's the way, in the direction we are going, and I feel like that's the way that this relationship should be going, but for whatever reason we're not compatible, and so we're not compatible at any level or any layer. Do you think
maybe I should go to therapy and figure that out?
Do you go to therapy?
No, but I probably
should. You should.
Yeah, I probably should. I don't know. If I'm the one who's ended it, I cut all ties. I want nothing. I don't want, and I don't know if it's because I'm like, if I delete it, then it didn't happen, and I can just get over it and move on to the next thing.
Right.
Actually, that was in one of those personality things that sometimes I try to exploit fun instead of feeling. So I look for something positive and exciting to do to maybe avoid having those thoughts and feelings about things.
No, that's me too, and a lot of, with my pain.
Yeah.
Right? I want to avoid the pain. I don't want to be mindful of it. I don't want to be present with it. I want it to be gone out of my life.
Physical pain.
Yeah, the physical pain. So I can see that. I always wonder about those online relations, or not online, but social media. Like, somebody's dating this person and they're 100% in, and they're getting engaged, and they're falling in love, and they're doing all these amazing things, and then next thing you know, like, they hate this person, they despise this person.
Yeah, what happened? Yeah.
It's so bizarre because there was never truly unconditional love for that person in that relationship. And not to say that you don't have that for that person, but to completely despise them, and they are the worst person in the world, and everything that you go through is horrible. To me, it's so crazy because they didn't either fit the boxes, or there was really a lot of false expectations. But truly, you never loved that person unconditionally, because no matter what they would do to you, you would still love them, but you have a healthy boundary, and you're just like, this person isn't compatible for me to be a companion, or a spouse, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think for me personally, there are some people in my life who are in relationships, and it causes me stress and pain about things because of, I hear something and I'm like, why the heck are you dating this person?
Right. It's so toxic.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say and choose, I would rather be single than be in that. I'd rather be single than be in a relationship where I'm dealing with that. And so
the reason people do that is they pick a partner or a spouse like the parent that hurt them the most. And what they're trying to do is overcome that pain and that suffering from that parent.
You think they can change that through
They don't realize it, but they don't realize it.
Yeah.
And so if you
That's interesting. I'll have to
analyze that
and see if it fits that mold. That's interesting.
Yeah, of the parent that hurt you the most. So, and it doesn't have to be, mother or father, but it has to be those situations and their behaviors and their patterns. And so a lot of people don't even realize how toxic the relationship was with their parents. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize how destructive that relationship was. They realize there's some tension and there's some issues with that parent, but then they don't put it into the piece of the puzzle of every spouse or every partner I pick, and why do I pick the same people over and over and over? Why am I picking the same person over? Oh, it's because there's still these other issues that you're trying to resolve, and that's what you're trying to do with this person in your life.
So what's the answer? Figure that out first and then find a healthy relationship?
Yeah, well, figure it out within yourself and not have somebody like with Amy, there's not an expectation that she's going to cure me or heal me, but she's my partner. And it's as long as you have some common goals and some common objectives and you want to go in the same direction, it's so easy, right? You're still going to have conflict. You're still going to have issues. Yeah. That's life, right? But if she wants something completely opposite of what I want, then there's no way we can't go in the same direction. We're fighting too hard together. So understand that about yourself is well, am I really upset with them, or I'm upset because I had an expectation of what I thought that they would do or their behavior? And so you have to analyze once again why they're doing, but why do you have the feelings that you really have? Why
my initial reaction is to walk away.
Right.
If something upsets me, or if there's a behavior, not to everything, but I have
to quit,
limits or boundaries or these expectations, and if one of those things happens, then I'd rather say see ya than.
And it's easy that way.
It is. It's easy. It's way easy. Yeah.
It's
There's no more pressure on me. Well, we're not even together. I don't have to deal with those feelings anymore. I deal with that. So.
And I think
it's healthy, right?
Yeah. So Tammy and I have been really committed to each other. A lot of it, we've had kids, right? And so we do about a bazillion things wrong, but we do hopefully a lot more things right. And I think the answer is to understand truly what is it about that parent that hurt you? What is it that really deep down that you didn't receive from that parent? And why is it that you're looking for that in this partner? And so it's a lot of self-realization of yourself.
Yeah, I'll have to look at these people's relationships and see if I find that the people, I mean, of course there are things with my parents that I wanted to kill them, and I'm sure they wanted to kill me more often too, but growing up, they were pretty strict, and I'm sure a lot of it was well-deserved, but we become much closer now. We have a very open relationship. I feel that they actually come to me asking questions. My mom made a comment once about my sister had said something that offended my mom, and I explained that this wasn't malicious. This was my sister being really excited about this one aspect of her life, and the way she shared it wasn't meant to be malicious. It was, these great things are happening. I'm sharing this, even though one of those things maybe my mom felt, sad about. And she was like, oh wow, I can't, I didn't look at it that way, and now we can have these conversations and think about these things together, and
with an open mind.
With an open mind, and
I think a lot of times parents or kids think that it's a direct hit towards them.
Yeah.
That it's so for example, I still get really sick when I change areas or move or relocate into the Midwest. So every time I go to Kansas City,
the barometric pressure
really messes me up. And same thing with Oklahoma City. So for example, last year we went down to Oklahoma City around my birthday to see. The objective was to see my mom and Tammy's mom, really, just to spend time with them. And if we could see any other friends or family, we could. And my mom was really upset because I was out in the van and I was sick and I couldn't hardly move and I felt horrible. And my mom said something to Tammy, and I don't remember the exact, but it was to the point of, I really wish he would come inside and spend time with me. And she's like, it's not personal. Like, he's not faking his sickness.
Yeah.
He's really sick. If he felt well enough to come inside,
this is where he wants to be.
he would come inside,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think a lot of times, even though intentionally she was taking it as like, he doesn't want to spend time with me.
Right.
But a lot of times we don't understand the true intent
Yeah.
of what's going on. And at least I'm in the driveway in my van and I'm close and
Yeah.
I'll spend as much time with
Yeah.
you as I can.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be, 16 hours out of the day.
No, no.
It's going to be a couple hours
Yeah.
out of the day. And so,
And your partner communicated that, and that communication is so valuable.
right, and I think that's what misses a gap with a lot of relationships and a lot of people dating, is they're not willing to make the commitment to learn and grow. So even, I kind of challenge you and encourage you to find empowerment
Mhm.
through dating, that like you look in the next relationship and say, well, this may not be the one,
Yeah.
but what can I learn about myself
Yeah.
through this?
Yeah.
How can I grow and how can I change? And how can I hopefully still kind of maybe have an attraction and a connection with them long term?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, little guy.
Prince, are you single?
Well, he's got a sister. He got a sister. So what else do you want to share? What else have we not discussed that you'd like?
I'm trying to think what else we'd put on the table for discussion. I think the move to Denver has been a big change, growth in my life, and I'm so thankful that I've had these new connections of people that I'm meeting here.
Right.
Some great stories and adventures that I've gone on with new people, reconnecting with people, maintaining connections with people, bringing
Right.
people from Kansas City. Sorry,
Recruiting them
stealing
out.
them. Yeah,
I
I
know,
know.
recruiting
Just
them
what
out.
the rest of Denver wants to hear is that
Like,
more people
we're-
are moving.
we're
Yeah,
Kansas City.
yeah.
Well, it's just crazy because like people I'd never expected to move here, like just from the yoga class, yoga community,
yeah.
are like, I'm moving there. I'll be there soon, and it's like, what? Like,
And that's got to be a part. I mean, that has to be a part of it because it was so meaningful and such
Right.
a strong part of them. Or maybe that wasn't a reason that they moved, but hey, I'm making this move. This was a very special thing to me. I want to
Right.
reconnect or keep that connection with Carrie and see
Yeah.
how I can and keep that in my life. And
right. I
Yeah.
think nature really, and I know I've said this probably numerous times, but what I realized in Kansas City was everything I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Evergreen is everything I need,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a big difference. Living in the
Ah.
plaza, right? I was walking distance to all the amenities, grocery
Yeah,
stores,
yeah.
restaurants. I would hop on the bus and take the bus over to the VA hospital for
Uh-huh.
all of my appointments because it's so much easier than driving
Oh my gosh.
and trying to
I am
find a
parking,
park there.
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to the VA, but it's
I know exactly where it is and how I can't imagine. I wouldn't even know where to park.
yeah. And so Kansas City was really everything I wanted because I was so convenient. But then I
Mhm.
realized coming out here and being in Evergreen, this is what I need: the sights, the smells, the connection with nature.
Yeah.
Everything that I need is out here. And I realized it even more recently. Like, we traveled to Detroit, and I did not enjoy the TSA aspect of traveling, of standing in the lines and going through security and everything, how they board and how everybody treats you through that process of what I'm paying for
Yeah.
is not enjoyable.
No.
There's zero customer, service
Yeah.
in that whole aspect.
Yeah.
And then I realized the same thing now when I drive into Denver or any big city, like, it's not fun for me. It's not enjoyable. And the reason why is because of the way the people treat you
Mhm.
in traffic. They pull over in front of you, or they're not mindful, or they're not
No.
courteous, right? So when you interact with that, I realize those are the two things that, like, I love flying, I love traveling,
Mhm.
but what I've realized now, this is, at my time in my life, this is more of what I need,
Mhm.
not of what I wanted.
Yeah.
Kansas City was everything I ever wanted.
Mhm.
It has everything to offer.
Yeah. If I could combine the things.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
With the views.
Wouldn't that be?
With
Yeah.
with the elk and the deer
Yeah.
and all the outdoor,
Yeah.
and I think that's
Bring the
what-
barbecue over.
Exactly.
With the group of friends here. I really want to have a road trip or bring them to Kansas
Right.
City because now I want to share that with them because
Yes.
they become so valuable to me that I want to share this thing that's also so special to
Right.
me. So
That's part of who we are.
Yeah.
The traveling. So, what has been some of the most beautiful or places that you've traveled to that you've enjoyed the most?
with work,
Yeah, or personal, or both. Because you get to travel with work to so many places.
I do. I really do, and I'm taking full advantage of that. I'm trying to. I always ask the local people I'm training what their favorite restaurant is, and I always
Right.
want to go to a local restaurant and try and just be a part of that. We were in Grand Rapids, Michigan
Mhm.
last week, and we went to this nice tapas restaurant, and the bartender told us about this secret underground craft cocktail bar
Right.
that wasn't advertised. You would never find it. You just had to know about it. And so we went to this tiny dark room with 10 chairs at a bar, and it was lovely. I mean, it was just very cool to, like, hey, he trusted us enough
Right.
to tell us about this special place.
Yeah.
I got to go to Seattle for the first time.
Was it this year?
Yes, and I
Okay.
saw our friend from Apple, Brad. I
Okay.
hadn't seen him
Forever.
since years. I haven't seen him, but I knew he lived in Seattle, and we've been reconnecting.
Okay.
We have a great connection with Kansas basketball, so we always message about that. But I was like, I'm coming to Seattle, so we had a beautiful dinner together.
He's such a nice guy.
Such a nice person. California I've gone to. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing a Montana training.
Really?
Get to spend time. The northern and northwest, even the Pacific Northwest, I don't have much experience in, and I think that's a tragedy. I really want to
Right.
have. And we're so close to Wyoming, and I haven't been
Yes.
there yet. But I'd say this weekend we're going to Taos, and Taos is a special place for me. My family and I used to travel there. My dad is a physician, and he worked as a medic at the Boy Scout Ranch in Philmont.
Okay.
So we spent our summers growing up on the Boy Scout Ranch.
Okay.
My sister and I would do some of the little Girl Scout
Right.
activities. She grew up to actually become a ranger and would take treks into the mountains for weeks at a
Okay.
time
It's
with
kind of like a guide. Yeah.
yes, with groups of women, and come back with long armpit hair
Yeah,
and just
all that
like
stuff,
no shower.
It's stinky.
Yeah. And now we've kind of switched roles, and I've become more of the hiker and the camper,
Right.
and so we're doing this beautiful trip this weekend, and I get to share that with some of my Denver friends. So I'm really excited to show them Taos. It's this beautiful little artsy hippie town. There's quite a gap in the financial resources.
Yes.
Either people who are not from New Mexico
Right.
but have a lot of money and vacation there, whereas
the
a lot of the locals don't have a lot
Poverty.
of money. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of that.
See, the good thing is you don't have to drive from Oklahoma City through Amarillo to that. So you get to
No.
go down south.
Yeah, it's a quick 4.5 hours. Not a terrible
Beautiful.
drive. Yeah, not a terrible drive, but yeah, I grew up. That's where I learned to ski and grew up skiing, and so to be able to go back to this place that's so special to me is really. I'm excited to share that, and
Right.
I have some favorite restaurants, and we're gonna get on the water somewhere and do
So
some
they have
hiking.
a-
So yeah,
yeah.
one of those, just like being outside and
So it's more convenient
the word
here.
of like pitching a tent
Right.
and like getting all ready to be like, this is my home for the night. It's just it's refreshing, and it makes you feel accomplished. Like
Right.
you're almost like working hard to then just have a simple,
Right. And you're not going
basic
anywhere.
need. Yeah. Maslow's hierarchy, like shelter. So I'm
Right.
working to make my own shelter, and it's rewarding. Like I did this. So
Right.
yeah, I think that my travels around where I can just drive somewhere to the mountains, whether it's New Mexico or Colorado, that's the most rewarding to me because
It's so close.
so close,
So convenient.
so convenient. Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to do a trip together. We
I
could
would
always
love
do
that.
like, we could go to Montana or Wyoming.
Yes.
I mean, one of my little favorite places is always Moab because there's
Yes.
BLM, so you just get out there and you
Yeah.
can see a lot of things too.
I would love that. We did that in the fall last year in September, and it was still very warm. So
Yeah, you picked a good time where it's not too hot, not too
yes,
cold.
that would be the only thing because it's desert, more deserty
Yeah.
there.
In the summer it's too hot.
Yeah.
But in the winter it's really cold.
Yeah. Have you spent time in Salt Lake City?
So I have. I even spent a lot of time when I was there in the military.
Okay, you'll have to send me recommendations because I'll be there for probably about 2 weeks
Mhm.
when my sister is having a baby.
There's a lot of. That's what I really was surprised of how much mountain biking and hiking
Okay.
there was in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I would love to get into mountain biking.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great challenge. We did the Manitou Incline. If you want a physical challenge, holy smokes.
Yeah, we almost bought a house that outlooked.
That's right, that you could see it.
Yeah,
That's right,
right.
that's right.
I think I would definitely prefer mountain biking over the road biking, especially here. I feel like I get so much anxiety
Oh,
when I'm
safety-wise.
driving. Yeah, because when I'm driving, these people are around these corners, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Can't
I'm
see.
about to hit you, or you're gonna get hit. Like,
And I'm gonna yell.
it just gives me. I think that's another thing that gives me so much anxiety is driving to the city with all these people on their bicycles on the road. Like a few weeks ago, I drove up to Mount Evans
Yeah.
on maybe I don't know, maybe it wasn't a Saturday or something, but there was probably 100 bikers on the way up there at different spots, and it's stress.
Scary.
It's
Yeah.
because it's not safe.
No.
For me, it's not safe. All right, Kate, is there anything else you want to share?
No, thank you. So I feel so grateful that you asked me, that you care.
Yeah.
I don't know if these people care enough, but to hear about my story, your story, and I'm so happy that you're here. I think it's beautiful that you've recognized what you need and can turn that into things that you want, and that you have this beautiful place. And I think you're such a special person, and anyone that knows you is extremely blessed and lucky to have you in their life. So this is a really cool opportunity. Thank you for sharing this with me.
Yeah, thank you for always being a part of my life.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a part of the nonprofit as it changes and grows and flourishes, and as we see where it goes over the next few years. So I definitely love you and appreciate your friendship.
I love you and appreciate you.
Thank you.
And you, Prince. And you, Mom.
Yeah.